Hello and welcome to watching this video. In this video I want to show you everything about Element 3D plugin. First you should create composition and then click here and create solid. After that click your solid and go to effect and in VideoCopilot click element. First I want to show you how you can import your 3D model in Element 3D. For do that you should go to setup and then click import. After that you can import your object file or Cinema 4D file. First I want import object file, click object file and then open that. Here click OK. As you can see my model is open. With left click you can turn around your object and with middle click you can change your camera in X and Y, and if you scroll down or up you can change your camera in Z axis. Okay, when you import your model, as you can see it create a group file and then input your model in that group. For example, here is group 1. We have 5 group in Element 3D. Okay, it's 1. If you click that and then click here, it's remove that. Okay, now click import and I want import Cinema 4D file. First go to Cinema 4D and then go to edit and preferences, then go to file and turn on this checkbox of save polygons for millinge and then save your project. Okay, when you render your object, as you can see we have an object like this. Now go to After Effects and in import select your Cinema 4D file. Here if you want that texture you used in Cinema 4D, you want to see that in Element 3D, you should go to load material and select standard shader and click this use auto normal and then click OK. As you can see that object is import with my material. And if you go to Cinema 4D, as you can see I animate my object too, and in Element 3D if you change that, as you can see in start frame animation you can see my object is animate here too. Element 3D just detect animation from Cinema 4D is scale, position and rotation. Element 3D can detect and animate in After Effects. Okay, here you can click create and choose your model default in Element 3D, for example this box, or in a starter pack physical you can select this default model in Element 3D. Click it, as you can see it add in your project. Okay, click OK and create a new camera and turn around your object. If you want to change your text or mask to 3D with Element 3D, you should first create your text here, for example VFXRZ, and then go to your element effect and then open custom layer and then click custom text and mask, and in path 1 you can select your text, for example VFXRZ, and after that go to Send Setup. First I delete this object. Okay, now go to Extrude, and as you can see, we can see that text in 3D. And if you click OK and turn off showing it, and here as you can see we have 3D text. Now for example I import a new file, this picture, and then select your layer and go to layer menu and click auto trace, and then click OK. Now it creates a new layer with mask. If you change scale, as you can see, first turn off showing, it's original, change scale. Now go to element 3D and path layer 2, select auto trace untitled, this untitled, and then go to Send Setup, and then go to custom path, and you can select custom path 2. As you can see, it's create like it, or you can select custom path 1, that text. You can set 15 path layer here, and then change and select that you want custom path with this custom path layer. Okay, click OK, and in auto trace I want delete this mask 1, and now if you go to your element 3D and select custom path 2, as you can see it's better, and then click OK. Turn off showing this. As you can see, it's convert that vector to 3D. Now go to Send Setup and delete this object, and for example create this cone model. Okay, and then click OK, and I think here is good. Now I want to show you what is this group option. If you click this group and open that, as you can see we have many options here, and first group is particle replicator, and if you open that, here is replicator shape. You can choose your model that you want replicate your object. First is point. Select point and particle count. You can set how many replicate that you need, and then go to replicator effects, and in scatter, if you change scatter, as you can see with point, you can see like this replicator. You can separate scatter in X, Y and Z. Okay, if you click 3D grid and set it to 0 in this scatter, as you can see like a grid, and you can change it in X or in Y and in Z. And when you click 3D grid, as you can see, we have another group is scale X, Y and Z. If you change this scale, we can change position of each this replicator. Next option is plane. If you click plane, with layers we can increase that, for example 3, and change particle count like that. Next option is sphere. Reduce that. Increase that I think is better. As you can see, it replicator like sphere. And in distribution we have two options, automatic and set row. If you click set row, as you can see, we have many rows in this replicator. But if you click automatic, as you can see, we don't have any line here. Next is ring. If you click ring, as you can see, exactly replicate like ring. And here you can scale from X, Y and Z. Next is layer. What's that? If you click layer and, for example, create a shape like this, and then go to element 3D, first turn off showing this, and in element 3D, in custom layer, click your layer that I want to create, that for example shape layer 1. As you can see, it create exactly like that shape. Okay, and here we can same other options, change X scale, Y scale and Z scale. Everything we can change it. Next object is 3D. If you want to use that, you should first go to Scene Setup and then create a new object. For example, this object is good. And then drag and drop this object out of this group, and then here click this pop-up and then click this checkbox. As you can see, this icon is changed like ring, and then click OK. Now as you can see, that cones like that lamp. If you go to Scene Setup, now click Shade and click Point. As you can see, we have many points here, and replicator set for each of this point one replicator. If you click OK, you can see it's like that lamp. Okay, and in rotation you can change rotation in X, Y, and Z. And in position noise, you can change amount and change evolution of that. It's noise. And okay, particle replicator is done. Next group is particle look. In particle size, you can change size of your 3D object. And with random, you can, if you change that, as you can see, random size, you can set it. Or in particle size, you can change size separately in X, Y, and Z. And particle rotation, you can change particle rotation in X, Y, and Z, and you can random. And in rotation noise, if you change that and set this amount, as you can see, you can random rotation for your objects. Okay, next group I want to show you is multi-object. Multi-object just used in text and mask. For explain that, go to Sensor tab and click extrude, and in point click shaded for see your object. Now click OK. Oops, I don't need this replicator right now. First go to set and in extrude change it to group 2, and then click OK, and go to group 2, go to particle look and multi-object. Turn on this checkbox. As you can see, we have many options here. If you change size, as you can see, we can change size of this character. In group 1, turn off this checkbox. Don't see that. Okay. Now in group 2, change size. As you can see, it's very good. Or you can change size random. You can change size in X rotation, Y rotation, in Z rotation. It's very cool. Or in displays, you can change displays, or in displays in X or Y and Z, or a scatter of that. Can change it or in noise, change noise amount, and with this, as you can see, you can change position of each character. Okay, now we don't need this. Go to Sensor tab and, for example, add this object, and drag and drop here, and set this group for 3, and then click OK. Now go to first group 2 and turn up this checkbox, and then go to group 3. Now I want to show you what is deform. You can deform your object with this group. First is taper. When you turn on this checkbox and then change amount, as you can see, you can change that like it. And in origin you can change like this, with original to deform taper. Okay, turn off this enable and then go to twist. If you enable that and change, for example in X, as you can see, we can twist from X axis, or in Y axis you can twist it, or you can, for example, if you twist it from Z, and then here you can change phase of X, or in Y, or in Z. Okay, turn off this, and next is bend. If you enable that, you can change it from X, Y, and Z. For example in Y, if you change that, as you can see, can bend it from Y, and here you can change direction. And next is noise. If you enable that with intensity, as you can see, we can change noise, and with scale can change scale of that noise. We have 3 options in method: noise distribution and 3D distortion. And next group is deform offset. Deform offset, as you can see, you can change all deform in deform offset in X, Y, and Z. If you want to default this deform, you should click reset to default this deform, or if you don't need that, turn off this checkbox. Now go to scene setup and create another object, for example this tube and this. Now create a new folder and drag and drop this tube to group folder, and then we have 2 tube, and set this group folder to 4 and then click OK. Now in group 3, turn off this checkbox and go to group 4, and then open auxiliary channel. We have 10 channel here. First go to scene setup, and then for example this tube, right click, and in auxiliary animation click channel 1 and then click OK. Now if you open this channel 1 and change it position, as you can see, just you can change position and other thing with this object. It's very easy. Or rotation and other thing. Okay, next group I want to teach you what's that is animation engine. If you open animation engine, as you can see we have many options here, and first you should show that group you want animate that. For example, I need group 1 and group 2. Turn on checkbox of that, and I don't need group 4. Okay, now for animate that you should enable this checkbox, enable, and then here select that group you want animate that. For example, group 1 and group 2. I want animate these two group. And in animation, when you change and increase number of that, as you can see, it changed to group 2. And in animation, as you can see, for each particle of that, it creates a new group 2. If you don't need like that, you should go ahead particle count from and change it to finish group. And now as you can see, it changed from 1 to 1 object. Okay, I change it to start group, and you can change from randomize and other object I will teach you in next video about element 3D. Okay, next group is word transform. With word transform you can change word transform of these objects. You can change it in Z, or you can change the scale of that, or you can change rotation and other rotation like in Y or in Z. You can click here. If you click this create, as you can see, it create word transform null and it link with your object. And if you change this null or rotate that, as you can see, all object is rotate. Okay, now go to element. Next group is render setting. Render setting is very important in your element 3D project. Before I teach you, go to scene setup. I want to show you how you can change material and other thing about material in object. First, for create new material, you should right click here and click new material. As you can see, it create a new material. If you click this material, as you can see, we can change property of this material. First, if you double click in default, as you can see here, we can change name, for example, new material, and then click OK. As you can see, name is changed. Okay, now for apply your material, your object, you can drag and drop to your object. For example, if you drag and drop here, as you can see, this material is apply this object. Now if you change material, for example, change it to a standard, as you can see, material is changed. In type we have two options, standard shader and physical shader. If you click standard shader, as you can see, we can see shader of this material, but if you click physical shader, we can't see any shader here. Okay, for example, I choose standard shader, and here we can apply diffuse, specular, reflection, illumination, and everything, environment and everything we can apply to your object. For example, with environment, if you click none set and then click load texture, select a texture. For example, I select this rock and then click OK and change standard shader to physical shader, and then as you can see, it reflects that picture. As you can see, it reflects that. Now if you scroll down, as you can see, we have many options here. For example, we have basic setting. If you change that, as you can see, color of your materials change, or you can change ambient or diffuse. As you can see, you can change diffuse or ambient or glossiness, everything we can change here. Or here you can change reflectivity. If you change intensity, as you can see, it's reflect exactly that picture we was set it here. If you change to 100, it's reflect just that image. But if you change it to, for example, 0, it's combine that texture with environment. Okay, or you can change illumination. As you can see, you can change illuminate. Or in wireframe, if you click here, as you can see, we can set wireframe, and we can change color of this wireframe, for example it. Or here you can change width of this wireframe, and other thing I will teach you. Okay, now for example, click this text, and as you can see, it changed like this material. And if you click object, please see here, if you change, as you can see, we can change object here. For example, if you click this extrusion model, we have many options here. Here you can select your custom path, for example 2 or 1, and here you can change bevel copy. For example, here is 1. If you change it 2 or 3, as you can see, it creates different material for that. For example, click bevel 2 and change color to green. Okay, and click bevel 3, change color to orange. Now go your model, and here if you click offset mode and change absolute to relative, as you can see, we have 3 bevel copy with orange, green, and this new material for that. And with bevel scale, as you can see, you can change bevel of your model. Okay, go to this material and I don't need this wireframe. Not good. Very good. Now click your object. If you scroll down, as you can see, we have another group. Its name is transform. In transform you can change position of your model or change a scale of that, or you can rotate it. And in flip you can select flip. As you can see, bevel is reverse, or you can flip Y or flip X, and here you can change this anchor point. Okay, and with UV mapping you can change texture, and here you can change reflect mode, and here you can turn on or turn off multi-object or deformation. Okay, now click OK, and I don't need this animation, and turn off that. Just I want group 2, and I don't need this multi-object now. Okay, now create new light. For example, white. Change it to white. White is good, and then click OK. Now go to element 3D effect, and in render setting we have many options. First is physical environment. Here you can change physical environment of your object. In lighting you can change lighting, you can change shadow, surface, and ambient matte, and everything reflection. For example, glue, if you turn on this object and change it to luminance, as you can see, your object is glue. I will teach you everything in this glue group, ray tracer, and other thing. I will upload 10 video with 10 project of this element 3D. If you want professional in element 3D, you should see that video. Thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.